G'day and welcome to the Automotive Society Podcast.
Welcome back.
I'm joined by Alex yet again. This is your host, Suraj. And today's topic, we're going to have...
What episode are we on?
What episode we're on?
Yeah, what episode is this now?
Well, technically it's the third one, but we deleted the second one due to sound quality.
Episode 2.
Episode 1, because the last one was 0.
1, no, true.
Yeah.
True.
So I guess this is our one episode, but they're not going to be in a chronological order. Other than a chronological order, they're not going to be episode 1, 2, 3 kind of thing. Yeah. They're all different topics, so it doesn't matter.
So what are we covering today?
Today, well, firstly, actually, I want to catch up with you, Alex. I got a call from you during the week saying that your car had a mishap.
It always has a bit of a mishap, let's be honest.
Yeah, but this was not your fault or the car's fault. This was someone came and hit your car fault.
Yeah, I wasn't very happy about that. It's not terrible, I must admit, but I was absolutely fucking livid when it did happen. The thing that I don't get right, so it's parked on this main strip in the area where I work, and it's got one way up, one way down, parking on both sides. And it leads up to Pacific Highway, which is this main highway that obviously everybody takes to go down to the city. And I was parked the very last car, before you get onto the Pacific Highway. So you pretty much merge in front of my car to then turn onto the Pacific Highway itself. And I came back to my car, and above the rear right arch, there's a scratch probably 10 centimeters long or so. And obviously that pissed me off massively. And I just don't understand how it really happened, because obviously the arches on a BMW they don't absolutely flare out, right? And then I go, okay, that's pretty pissed off. Walk to the front of the car to go unlock my door, and the fucking the what do you call it? The side mirror, the wing mirror is being pushed forward as well. So somehow someone scraped my car and hit the wing mirror at exactly the same time. Doesn't make any sense.
So I'm guessing they were driving really close to you.
Yep.
And then their wing mirror probably hit your wing mirror.
Yeah, but where does the wheel arch bit come from?
Yeah, where does the scratch come from?
See what I mean?
Maybe someone was going straight into your car and then reversed and then tried to go, and it was still
so they
too
cracked
close.
my wing mirror and then reversed back into me as well?
No, I think they hit your wheel arch and then they reversed out of your car, and then driving off, they hit your wing mirror with their wing mirror.
Could be.
How else do you hit a wing mirror? You have to hit a wing mirror with a wing mirror. There's no other way.
It doesn't make sense.
Your bonnet would be way too low for a wing mirror.
It just does not make sense to me at all.
Unless it's like a big ute.
But anyways, I was pretty pissed off. I went straight to my mate who does a bit of detailing and polishing, and he's pretty much fixed most of it up, but I'm still pretty livid that it's still there. But oh well. Maybe I should just burn it. Maybe I should just get rid of it. Like, we just move on. Just sell the car like it's broken.
Just sell
it's
the
finished.
car.
Yeah,
someone
move on.
Scratched my car.
Yeah, someone scratched my car. It's done. Finished. No, it's burnt.
That's it.
Next.
I'm buying a Lamborghini.
Yep, Lambo's next. Yeah, so that was
I wish I had that much money where I could just be like, no, this one's tainted. I'm throwing it away in the bin.
Yeah. That's what I felt like. I felt like this car's just ruined. Like, my emotional attachment to this car has been destroyed because of this one scratch. Maybe that's overkill, but...
Well, is this your first scratch? Have you curbed your wheel before?
I've curbed my wheel once on my old Scirocco, I remember.
Yeah, but not in this car, right?
No, not in this car.
So that's probably, I guess, the first scratch is the hardest. The first blemish on your car is the hardest.
It's emotionally the hardest, because I feel like I was so angry when I got back to the office.
Yeah. But from now on, you'd be like, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to drive. If I hit something, I hit something. I don't care.
Maybe you're like that. Me, I'm going to be fucking livid the next time it happens.
Really?
Yeah, 100%.
I'm not like that. So I care about my car like a lot until I get my first scratch, and then I'm like, fuck it. This car's no longer worth anything. I don't give a fuck.
So what you're saying is, the next car you buy, if I just take a key and just make a small little scratch in it, yes, you'll be pissed off at me, but moving forward, every other scratch you're not going to mind.
Yeah, moving forward, that becomes my ship box.
So do you want me to do that?
Well, it's too late. I've already the Evo 8. What have I done? I've broken 2 front lips now. So the second time I got a brand new front lip, I was like,
this is a carbon one, right?
Yeah, this is a carbon fiber front lip.
Yeah.
Like, I spent a bit of coin on it. And the other day, just in my area, going to my mate's house, hit a driveway at like the slowest speed you could possibly hit, and I hear, and that was it. That was the end of that. carbon fiber, completely split in half.
So it's in the bin.
It's still on the car. It doesn't look as bad from the front, but when I put it up on the hoist and look underneath, you can see that it's completely split.
Why don't you just raise the height on the coilovers?
That's the thing. My car is quite high. It's not low at all. It's still an all-wheel drive rally car kind of thing, right? So I'm on 18-inch wheels and I'm in no standard form stance or anything. Like it's quite high.
Yeah.
I've got chunky tires, high profile tires. So if I go higher than this, I'll just look like a monster truck.
Oh yeah. One extreme to the other. Straight
Yeah.
to monster. 1 inch lift, and all of a sudden it's like
All of a sudden
it's a four-wheel drive
monster
car.
truck.
No, don't worry
Basically,
about
it's also a track car, right? So I don't really want to go high too much.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. So that's when I was like, oh, well, this car's a bit gone. And then when I was putting it on the hoist, my hoist is for low profile cars. So the hoist arm goes, I think it's like 80 mils off the ground, right? Like it's really low. So it comes out and then it dips below
Yeah.
to sit on the chassis rail. So I put it on the chassis rail of the Evo, but because my Evo, the factory Japanese kit is very, very aggressive, like the side skirt. When I was going up, I just hear a loud crack, bang, and I was like, what the hell is that? I run back, and turns out my hoist arm's lifting my entire car up by my side skirts, not even touching the chassis.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So then I saw this crack on my side skirt on the passenger side that goes all the way from the back to like, it's not that big actually. I would say it's probably like 5 or 6 centimeter long crack that goes into the rear door kind of area.
Yeah.
And oh my God, I was livid. I was like, what the hell? But turns out it's a very common issue with Evos because their side skirts are so dang low and their chassis are not that low. So with the hoist, I have to use so I have an attachment for side skirts and for steps for four-wheel drives.
Yeah.
So I have to put that attachment on every time I have to lift it up, which is really annoying. But I found another way. I had some spare hoist pads lying around, so I just put them on top and that gave me enough room.
That's so dodgy.
To lift it up. No, it's all right. It's not too bad. It hasn't fallen off the hoist. It's been up on the hoist for like 2 weeks now and it hasn't fallen off.
Well, that's a good sign then.
Yeah, that's it.
So what's our topic for today?
Our topic for today, and I really wanted to do this, was
Hit me.
safari car. What would you get as a safari car?
Safari. Okay, so define. So we're talking COVID. People are raring to go out on a road trip.
Yeah. So this is a very this topic is very much trending at the moment in the way that people are going out. They're going camping a lot more because you can't travel overseas really. I know we're having bubbles open and stuff, but now we even have another new variant called Omicron.
Shout out to Omicron.
Shout out to the big C's still around. It hasn't gone away.
Shout out to COVID.
So the problem that we're having is as much as people want to go outside, they can't. They still have money. Like you're still earning money, right? Like jobs, I think, have become a lot more stable than they were at the start of COVID. And then obviously there was the government paychecks that helped a lot of people as well. So people have money. It's not like money's completely lacking. Okay. With people our age at least. And they just want to go travel. They want to do stuff. They want to do something fun on the weekends or for a week, you know. And Christmas is coming now too. So
that's true. People want to go away more often.
A lot of people have like 2 or 3 weeks leave, holidays. So what do? Well, they pack their bags, chuck them in whatever car that they have and
hit the road.
Hit the road,
hit the road, Jack.
Wherever they want to go. We're in Sydney, so literally you can go north or south or even west. And you'll get good camping grounds. You get good fun times.
Okay, so this is going to be the idea of this, I guess, is your camping gear, and it is to sleep in the vehicle and not to sleep in the vehicle. What are we talking here?
You don't have to sleep in the vehicle if that's your living arrangement. Like you can have a swag or you can have a roof tent. I love roof tents, so I would probably go with a roof tent option. But I mean, if you're camping, then yes, you kind of have to sleep somewhere, right? You either, like something that can either fit a tent, a swag, or a roof tent. Something has to give. Or
what's our budget here?
Okay, so let's say for the starting, we'll go with 20 grand.
20 grand. Is that including fit out?
No, I think that's going to be just the vehicle.
I've got it.
You've got it.
I've actually got it.
You've got it. But like, remember, you're in your 20s.
Yep.
Right? You can only earn so much.
Yep.
So you have to have some sort of sleeping arrangement.
Yep.
And the vehicle.
Yep.
And enough amenities
to make it livable,
to make it fun and not tragic.
Okay. Yeah. I'm 100%. I'm already sold on
for
this.
For 20 grand.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, let's hear it.
No. I'm intrigued to see what you say first.
What I say? Well, I haven't really thought it too far ahead. So I would like to brainstorm. Come on, tell me what.
Brainstorm. Well, there's only one car that comes to mind in the 20 grand price range.
Only one. Yeah.
Well,
what is that?
one that shouts out to me and says, "This is the smartest thing."
Yeah. What would that be?
It's going to be like a late 90s, early 2000s 4-wheel drive Mitsubishi Delica.
Oh, Mitsubishi Delica.
100%. There's nothing better you can get for that price point.
You know what's really weird?
What?
And this is really weird. But I was thinking of the same car.
Well, too late. It's fine. It's the best car there is.
That's so weird.
Podcast ended. Moving on. See you next episode.
Well, I like Japanese cars, and I like Mitsubishis. So I thought that was a really good choice. So props to that. A Delica. That's true. And you're gonna fit it. I'm guessing you're gonna fit it out as like having a bed inside.
Oh yeah, you'd have a little bed. You'd have a little cook. Well, probably not like a full cooktop, but like a nice little Bunsen burner stove thing. And
yep.
However else people cook these days. I'm not that handy with cooking, but you have all your amenities in there. Perfect. It's all you need. Also, they come turbo diesel and make some awesome blow off noises.
That is true.
And
they don't make a lot of power though. So if you fill it up completely, there's only so far you're going to get.
Oh, 100%. 100%. But imagine this, right? Delica, full drive, chunky, maybe not off-road, but all-terrain tires with a 2-inch lift, all black, blacked out windows. That's a cool car.
That is a cool car. I would like it in green though. I would like it in like a jungle green or British green kind of color.
Green,
yeah. I really like... if it's a 4-wheel drive that can go like bush bashing and stuff, I really like the color green. I think it suits in well with our bush.
What I feel like in the West, like all the Samoan and like, Maori families and everybody who owns a Delica, those big families, they always have a Delica in green.
Yeah.
100%.
Well, it's just a symbol, right? It's just the greatest way to have one.
But it's the perfect car, right?
It is the perfect car, I would say. So now I have to rethink what I want. And damn, if we didn't have the harsh bush as such, I would buy like a really small like school bus or something.
A school bus.
Like a small school bus. Yeah, I know you can get them, like they're literally not that expensive. Diesel, turbo. Really terrible on fuel, I've heard.
Really?
But like not like a huge bus, right? Like a mini.
You're talking like the ones that they have at little churches and things like that.
Yeah, like a little coach kind of. I don't know what to call it, to be honest. It's like more of a van that can fit like 12 people in it.
See, but I got a problem with that.
What?
It's too big.
It's too big. But like you're not taking this to the city, right?
But you are going to hit a city eventually, right? And you're going to hit the main strip and go, wow, that cafe looks so good.
But
I've heard so much things about it. And they're going to say, hey, can you parallel park your bus in this space that's made for a Toyota Yaris? And you're going to say, oh shit, I have to park 5 kilometers away and walk.
But I can go to any city but like Sydney City, right? Even Melbourne will fit it.
Melbourne will not take that
Melbourne
bus.
will take it.
Way.
It'll be fine. Melbourne City
it's not happening.
Are like pretty organised, pretty big.
You buy this bus, I'll give you 10 grand towards this bus, right? And you drive it to Melbourne. I bet you it won't work.
Okay, that's one thing, right? But what if someone's taking like a camping trailer? Where do they go? They're bigger than the van.
Yeah, but they can ditch the camping trailer. They can leave it at the campsite.
You can't just ditch your trailer on the way through a city.
Well, they'd usually have a campsite or something like that, and they'd leave it there, then they'd go for a drive to the city and come back. Alternatively...
That's your argument.
Yeah, 100%. Or what some of my other, I guess, people I know is when they have a camping trailer or something like that, they'll find a designated normal car park area, park their trailer up, put a little lock on it so nobody can take it, and they'd just go drive away. All
right. Fair enough. Okay.
But it doesn't work.
It doesn't work. Well, it also doesn't work in bush bashing, right? Like I can't really take a van
100%.
into the bush. So
The only other really good option, I think, in today's market where they're a little bit cheap, or say cheaper, but the Subaru Foresters. Great car.
Foresters are great.
Great car.
Foresters are great.
Typical P-plater car.
For under 20 grand, and you're going to hate me for this,
Oh, God. Go on.
but I'm going to say like a Wrangler.
Ugh.
I love Jeep Wranglers.
Why?
Okay? Why? Well, they're convertible when you want them to be, right? You can take the doors off. You can take the windscreen down. Like, well, this is the really old ones, but let's say we go to the modern Wranglers. It's still a convertible. It's all-wheel drive, right? It's a great power. You can get them in.
Great American power. American V6s have never, ever made massive amounts of power.
Yeah, but you don't. No, it's got the torque. It's not really like you don't want 500 horsepower out of a Wrangler. That's not what it's for.
No, not at all. It's just what are they making? 150 horsepower out of their 3-liter V6s? Whoop-de-doo.
That's enough. That's enough. You just want to go down the road, right? You want to even if you go in the bush.
Okay, so you're talking
torque
a Jeep
is what you want.
A Jeep Wrangler.
Yeah.
With like a 2-door one.
Or a 4-door. I'd rather a 4-door.
Which you probably can't afford with 20 grand because I think they're a little bit more.
I don't think so. I think you can buy them.
I'm pretty sure they're more.
Are they?
Yeah, I would be pretty confident on that. But
all right. Let's say 2-door then.
Let's call it 2-door for the time being.
Like an
and then
older
what?
2-door.
You're taking your swag with you, are you?
Yeah.
Because you can't have a roof tent, obviously. Otherwise, it's not convertible.
No. So yeah, I'd take a swag.
Yeah.
And have a little tow bar. So if I really need more supplies, I can take a little box trailer or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ideally, I would really like one of those camping trailers that you can just hook up and it turns into a beautiful little house, basically.
Yeah.
But I don't think in the budget that would.
No.
That wouldn't fit anywhere near the budget. The trailer alone would probably be 20 grand.
So I'm sure they do the job, but Jeep Wranglers for me just, how do I say this? They don't tickle my fancy.
Oh, they tickle my everything, I think.
Do they?
I love them. I love Wranglers.
Wow.
So my partner drives a Jeep Grand Cherokee, right? I know Jeep have a bad stigma around them.
And tell me, what happened after about 3 weeks after you bought that Jeep?
Oh, it caught fire. But, that was a recall.
Hold on. So we're just brushing over the fire part, are we?
Yeah. Because that was a recall. Okay, Jeep knew about it. It wasn't like it came out of the blue and it didn't spontaneously catch fire, okay? It just seemed like it. But Jeep was like, yeah, we know about that issue. No worries. And they fixed it for free. So,
look, it sounds like they gave you good service. But you can't hide the fact that your car, which is less than 5 years old, I think,
yes,
caught fire. Now, if I just drill this down, fire. It literally caught fire. Not like slightly broke down on the side of it. It caught fire.
So Jeeps have a recall. The Grand Cherokees at least have a recall for the alternator. And for some reason, they have a little bit too much resistance in the wiring for the alternator. So it gets hot. It gets hot to the point where it starts melting the plastic and then eventually catches fire. It's the percentage of cars in Australia that have actually caught fire is very low. Most of them just go through the recall, they get it fixed or whatever. They never have any issues. But it's like 1 in 100,000 or something stupid number catch fire, and they're catastrophic.
And after owning this and having this problem, you still want a Jeep Cherokee, not Grand Cherokee. What's it called? Wrangler.
I love Wranglers. I think it's the same motor even. I haven't done my research. I really should.
But for the same price, you're telling me you'd look at a Toyota Land Cruiser, right, an older one, and you go, no, I don't want the Land Cruiser, right? And your next option would probably be what? A Nissan Patrol. You look at the Patrol, you go, I don't want the Patrol.
No. Okay.
And then you look at a Delica and you go, you know what? I'm not interested in a Delica.
No.
I'm not interested in the van options that we've got. I'm not interested in any of the stuff you want.
So
I want an old rust bucket Jeep Wrangler. That's what you're telling me.
Okay, American cars are very good with the chassis, at least.
Fair, I'll give you that.
They last a while, okay?
Because they're cast iron.
I wouldn't say. I'd say no to a Land Cruiser or a Patrol. I love Land Cruisers and Patrols, but for highway driving, I don't think they're the greatest. In the way,
bit jiggly, or
like they're a bit boaty. On a highway, if you want to change lanes in an emergency, you're probably going to flip over if you've got all-terrains. Not to mention, if you have all terrains and you're going down the highway, you're just going to hear.
Yeah, that does get quite frustrating, I must admit.
So if it's something that you want to take off road as well, and you know what, Land Cruisers are not the greatest at bush bashing until you start working on them, until you modify them.
Fair comment.
Whereas a Wrangler is from factory good. I don't know. Maybe a lot of comments are going to roast me. And a lot of
you listen to me. You've got the Toyota Land Cruisers Club on your back now, saying, "Oh, you're wrong."
No. I love Land Cruisers. I do. I've seen people have them, and I've seen how much money people spend in suspension in them, and I know how much, even patrols. I know how much people spend money on kitting the engine out, let alone the suspension and all that.
Yeah,
you're looking at least $5,000 for suspension, right? At least.
There or thereabouts.
Yeah, so you buy a car for like 15 or 20. Firstly, they're inflated.
Yeah, they're so expensive.
Everyone wants them. A Wrangler, no one wants. Okay, that's a gold mine.
That's very true. I mean, to be fair, a friend always told me, the car that you want to buy secondhand and it's got to be a car that's owned by someone or a majority of people who aren't going to be P-platers who are bush bashing them, right? Because it means they're going to be in better nick.
Yes.
Right, and every Land Cruiser that you look at these days has been absolutely destroyed off-road.
Yeah, and it's not normally the P-plater who buys it. It's normally the P-plater's parents who own them before, and then it's kind of like a hand-me-down.
Yeah.
Like they're like, oh, you just got your Ps. This car's super safe. It'll be great for you. Here you go. You might pay, $150 a week in fuel, but that's
stupid amounts.
That's the car for you.
Yeah,
and P-platers are like, heck yes. Love this. I can go camping with my mates, and then all their mates buy them, and then they all get CB radios, and they do the same thing to all of them, and they go out bush bashing. I think that trend has really started in the last 3 years. Before COVID.
Massively.
When you and I were P-platers, we were like, what do we want? 2-door sports car. Has to be low to the ground.
100%.
Fit some nice wheels to it, and coilovers to make it even lower than it is.
Yeah, agreed. If you ain't scraping over a speed bump, something's wrong.
That's it. We used to go sideways over speed bumps all the time.
That was cool.
Yeah, it was. I still think it was cool. But you talk to a P-plater today and they're like, no. That's overrated. You don't really need that. What you want
is a 4-inch lift.
Is a 4-inch lift. You want to go away from the ground as much as possible.
Yeah.
You don't care about wheels. You care about tires. You spend more on tires than you spend on wheels.
Yeah.
And the car has to be really, really good for bush bashing and having tents and basically what we're talking about, like a safari car. That's what they want. They all want safari cars because it means that they get a little bit of freedom from their parents, Like they can take their girlfriend out to the bush and sleep in a tent with her rather than be in their house.
Yeah.
And...
Sleeping in the tent, huh? Anyways, moving on.
I mean, how much they sleep is up to them, but and I totally understand that. I totally get it, but that wasn't for me, and it still isn't for me. I don't look at myself. And
I can appreciate it though.
I can appreciate it. I think they're cool cars for sure. And you know what? My girlfriend, who owns a Jeep Grand Cherokee, has saved my butt many a times. Right? It's my tow car. It's where I take all my cars to the track and back, and I save all my friends who break down all the time, especially ones with BMWs.
I don't know what you're talking about.
and then also when I take it camping, when I come with you, which some reason you take a BMW camping.
Yeah, it's sick.
But like when I go camping with you, it's super great. I sleep in the car. I don't even have to kit it out or anything. All I do is fold the back seats down, put a pillow down, and boom. This is one of the most comfortable things I've ever slept in my life.
Which I still find weird.
I prefer it over a swag.
I still find that weird.
I think it's so comfortable. And if I can put a roof tent on it, that would be like...
Game over.
That's the best. Yeah, that would complete my life.
Can you imagine going camping like in the sort of like winter months, right? The colder months, okay?
Yeah.
In your roof tent, and you'd keep warm as well.
In your roof tent?
Yeah, well, your engine would be on fire. Right? So you don't have to pay for heating.
Well, I'd rather sleep in the car where the heater is on and nothing's on fire.
You never know. We could roast marshmallows on it. It's part of the experience, right? But what you're saying is you'd buy a Jeep Wrangler.
I'd buy a Jeep Wrangler.
I'm shocked.
Because I think I'm looking at budget as well. I would buy a Jeep Wrangler.
They don't come with anything in them. They come with a gear stick.
That's good. Less is good.
3 knobs in it, pretty much.
Yeah.
4, if you count the one who bought it,
Yeah.
right? A radio and an indicator stalk. That's all it comes with. There's nothing else in it.
What else do you need?
Well, don't you want some creature comforts?
Well, it's got music.
Yeah.
Right? It's got a comfortable seat. They're not uncomfortable.
I'm not so sure about that.
Oh, I think they're pretty comfortable. Let's say a good spec. You don't have to buy the bottom of the bottom spec, right? You can buy one with like really nice leather seats or something.
But, this is going to be a questionable comment, but is it safe to say that Jeeps are made for more, how can I say this, oversized people? Being American?
They just cater for the Americans, that's all. But if you're talking about creature comforts, I think the Land Cruiser is one of the worst.
Why?
What do you mean why? It has even less than the Wrangler does.
Yeah, it doesn't have much in it.
The Wrangler even has heated and cool seat, depending on what year you buy.
Yeah, but for 20 grand, I mean, you're going to get one that's how old? 10,
okay,
15?
it'll be old school, but for 20 grand, the same Land Cruiser is going to have way less features.
It's also going to have 450,000 kilometers.
Yeah,
on it
yeah. The
and be
interior
driven.
of a Land Cruiser is very bare bones.
Bare bones.
Very uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah.
And like the creaks, oh my God.
Hell of a lot of creaks.
Land Cruisers creak. Patrols, they creak so hard. You can feel the engine in your bones. I don't know.
It's, yeah, I can see where you're coming from. It's one of those things, but I must admit, after all of this conversation about Land Cruisers, Jeeps and Patrols, I think we've come to the conclusion the best car you can buy for 20 grand to explore Australia is a Mitsubishi Delica. And I don't hear any arguments on it.
I don't have any arguments on it, to be honest. I think they have creature comforts. They're super comfortable. It's a van. I love vans. Actually, speaking of vans, what about a High Ace?
It's not a bad choice. Not a bad choice
at all.
I've got a problem with vans as such. People mover vans, that's all right. Vans as such, I have a problem with. They are really uncomfortable to drive long distances.
Really?
In my opinion, they are.
Okay,
yeah.
so...
Because the sitting position, don't you find yourself always leaning over the steering wheel?
Depends on the van you buy. So
I mean,
I've driven a lot of Volkswagen vans, actually, like transporters and stuff.
Okay, that'd be comfortable because they're European.
Yeah, and they were really good. So I worked as a mobile mechanic for a year. And we had a Volkswagen transporter. And we had a Volkswagen Caddy. The Caddy was really cool, but I think...
a lot of Volkswagens by the sounds of it.
Yeah, my old boss loved Volkswagens. And the Amaroks as well we had. But the Amarok, I found, it was all right, but slightly uncomfortable. The Transporter was the best vehicle. It was super comfortable, had all the creature comforts you could ask for, including Apple CarPlay. And it had a huge van part, like the back storage bit was amazing. The Caddy, too small, I think. It was way too small.
Did all these come with the Volkswagen DSG, though?
Yes, they did. Oh, no, actually, the Transporter was manual. Sorry.
Right, okay.
The Amarok and the Caddy were DSG.
Which I'm not a fan of.
I'm not a fan of either. But the Transporter, I think that's what made me like the Transporter more. It was manual. 6-speed manual, and it was super comfortable. It was diesel van, but like really quiet. It doesn't have the drony clack engine.
Yeah.
That you hear in most diesels. So I think it was a great
vans
choice.
For me are just not a thing.
Really?
No. I know people love kitting out their vans and that sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, a van is made to carry weight, and that's what it's made for. And suspensions are stiff and uncomfortable and very bare bones. They're just not for me. You go inside a Delica, yeah, they're old. Yeah, they've got velour upholstery everywhere, but they're comfortable. And blow-off valves are cool, man.
No, I would beg to differ. I would say that the Transporter was very comfortable in my opinion. So I don't know. The Delica would probably be just as comfortable. I'd say like there'd be a very similar driving experience.
More, I think.
Nah, I don't think so.
If you get in the four-wheel drive one, they get some good suspension travel in them as well.
One's like a Euro sort of luxury brand, and the other one is like a standard Japanese brand. Like Mitsubishi wasn't really going for luxury when they made the Delica. They were going for more, this is for the family. You know, it's rugged. It does the job. It takes your kids in the back. It doesn't mind going in the mud kind of thing, but it's not made for it.
Yeah. But you know what? For the sake of exploring Australia and doing a little bit of beach driving, little bit, not much, a Delica is the perfect car.
Okay. I think we've agreed to where we are, right? I think we've said the Delica is a great car, and I've said
the Jeep is definitely not the car you should buy.
I think the Wrangler is what I want. It's not great for a roof tent. So if I wanted a roof tent, yes, I would go for a hear me out, a Jeep Grand Cherokee.
Yep. The one that catches fire.
Yeah, that's the one.
Moving on.
Love them. But moving on, let's raise the budget. Let's go from 20 grand to 60 grand.
60 grand.
60 grand.
That's a hell of a lot of money.
Well, in today's second-hand car market, it actually doesn't go very far. But I would say 60 grand is still a considerable amount if you want to spend on a safari car, right? This is not your everyday driver.
yeah.
This is not your track car, sports car, or anything. It does nothing. But when you're ready for a road trip, you can drive it every day. I want it to be comfortable, right? You're going to be sitting in the seat for, 12, 15 hours.
Yeah.
You're going for a road trip. So what do you buy?
So this is a good one. This price bracket I haven't really thought much into because I think it's a lot to spend on a safari car.
Yeah, I think it definitely is a lot of money. And I think I would go with something that has 4-wheel drive.
Yeah.
Probably a Mercedes diesel.
A Mercedes diesel.
I think I would go with a Mercedes diesel.
Mercedes diesels for me not very nice.
Really?
No.
I would say the opposite. I think Mercedes is really good at diesels.
A Mercedes what though?
Are
we talking like a C class or?
Well, if we stick to the same sort of chassis,
yeah,
you're probably talking like a Vito van kind of thing.
Mercedes Vito is what you would choose. You've got 60 grand. You're sprawling upon many options. And
I would probably go with
Vito.
like a big Mercedes people mover kind of thing. Not really like a van.
Yeah.
That's where I'd probably go.
Okay, so one of those Mercedes van things with seats in the back.
Yeah. That's what I would like to go with.
So not like the bog standard van that delivers.
No,
parcels.
not the commercial type. I'm talking like
the
luxury type.
Okay,
so, people moving with it's got, what have they got? 7 to 9 seats or something.
Yeah, something ridiculous.
And they do the job. I think what I'm trying to get at is for the budget, I think a Mercedes diesel is one of the best engines that you want. You've got tons of torque. You've got tons of reliability. You've got great fuel economy, and you've got the luxury. Like the seat will be more comfortable than anything that you could get for that price.
Yeah. It's interesting because I'm not a big fan of Mercedes diesels.
Really?
Every Mercedes diesel I've ever driven, and I've driven the A220D, I think it is, the small hatchback.
Yep.
Moving up to a GLS 350D, I think it was, and drove a C-class diesel, whatever it was. And all of them I wouldn't say they're bad motors. I just wasn't necessarily impressed by them.
Really? I was the other way around. I think I was blown away by Mercedes diesel in the way that they're so smooth and they do everything so comfortably. I think they're great cars.
And I think for that budget, I'd be looking at an X5.
I would not touch an X5 with a 10-foot pole.
Wow, that's a big comment.
I think they're like the most unreliable cars in the world. Their electronics is absolutely shockingly bad.
So smooth though. The diesels, the M50D is one of the best.
But I think it's the same thing we had last episode, right? The BMWs are great. The 3 days they run out of the week.
With an X5, I think it probably works 7 days out of a month. I think is an easier way to say it.
Yeah.
Most of the time they're running pretty good.
as a mechanic, BMW was definitely my bread and butter, and X5s were the top. Like, we saw more X5s than any other BMW, and that's saying
Really?
something because BMWs break a lot.
Nah, not that much.
They break a lot. Like, maybe not to you. I'm not saying you specifically with your car, but
Mine's
as
been pretty good.
a
to be
mechanic
honest.
shop that like to specialize in Euro cars, like mine, BMW out of Audi, Volkswagen, Renault. I said Renault was worse than most of the European brands, French brands, and that's saying something because Renault is fucking terrible.
Renault's very cool though.
Renault's fucking atrocious at
Very
making
cool.
cars.
Take that back.
Their
They make some great cars.
Their engineering is out of this world in a bad way. Like, for traffic to do a timing belt, because the engine is backwards, you have to take off the flywheel basically to do the timing belt. How dumb does that sound?
Well, see, I usually just say, well, it's broken. Can you fix it, please?
Yeah, and I'm on the other end being like, yes, I'll fix it, but I'm going to spend the next 18 hours pulling my hair out, throwing spanners across the workshop while screaming at the top of my lungs to fix this piece of shit that someone's put in front of me.
But they've made some great cars.
I don't think so. Even
100%.
driving wise, I don't like them. They're so fucking weird on the inside. Have you ever driven like a Kangoo or a Traffic?
Well, no, because I wasn't particularly thinking of them. But
Okay, so you want to go towards the Megane, right? That's your...
a Megane is one of the best cars to ever come out of France, in my opinion.
So the Megane isn't that bad driving wise. Working wise, yeah, it's just as terrible as all the other fucking Renaults. But driving them, yeah, I wouldn't say they're horrible.
They're great to drive. Brilliant.
But I don't see the appeal in the way that I don't see what you can do with a Renault Megane that you can't do with a Mitsubishi or a Mazda or I would get a Mazda MPS.
Big call.
Yeah.
Big call.
I would rather get an MPS because I think they're way better than a Megane.
They're quite quick.
Yeah, like you're looking at the same thing, right? You're looking at a hatchback. The Mazda 3 MPS is front-wheel drive, just like the Megane.
Yeah.
You can get them in manual. They're comfortable. You can upgrade your seats and stuff. I know the Renault Megane comes with Recaro seats and this and that, which the MPS doesn't. But creature comforts-wise, I think the
MPS has more in it.
The MPS has more in it, like Apple CarPlay,
Agreed.
Android Auto and stuff. Like the MPS will have that. The Renault Megane won't.
Agree. We got a little bit sidetracked, but
We got a lot of bit sidetracked
a
actually there.
lot sidetracked there.
But okay, quickly, what do you think is a good safari car? 60 grand. I've said mine. I would like a...
I really like X5s. I really, really do. I think the only other consideration that I would have in it for that sort of price point would be...
warranty. That's what you want.
You definitely want warranty for sure, 100%. But I'm the stupid person that always buys a car without warranty. And let's be honest, I wouldn't be me if I was buying cars in warranty. It'd be very
It's
weird.
mostly because you look out and you go, Siraj is my warranty. Siraj,
Yeah.
can you come with me to look at this car, please?
Yep.
I list out all the bad things, negotiate it down, and I'm like, you probably shouldn't buy this. Alex goes,
I'll buy it
I'll
anyways.
buy it.
And honestly, it would either be that or a Range Rover.
Oh, I fucking hate Range Rovers.
I know.
Oh my God.
They're great cars.
As a context, as a backstory, my dad used to have a Range Rover Sport, and I think out of the 12 months of the year, 8 of those months it would sit in my workshop. Most of the time, sporadically, like every month, it would break down and then stay at my shop for like 2 months or some shit. But by the end of its life, and I'm talking 130,000 Ks as its lowest, like end of its life. At 130,000 Ks, the thing would break down for no apparent reason. It would throw up codes like, one of the codes it threw up was performance restricted. The fuck does that mean?
What does that mean?
Well, no one knows. It had shit tons of oil leaks, had no vacuum leaks, no air leaks. I have no idea why, but it would just be like performance restricted.
That's interesting.
It's very interesting. Although driving it suspension wise, it was amazing. It was nice air suspension. It would go really high, really low, really quick. Do all the bells and whistles of a 4-wheel drive. That'd be amazing off road. But on the highway, oh my God, felt like a cloud. You could barely feel the road because it's a chassis on rails.
Chassis on frame, yeah.
I hated it. Like it was like it felt like I was on a cloud. I had no connection to the road whatsoever.
Yeah, it's a bit vague, I must admit.
I would like to feel the road, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not flying a plane.
But the thing is, the Sport's not the one I'd get. I don't know they all have the same engine and so on and so forth, but the Vogue is the one you want.
Oh, the Vogue is more of a soccer mum car rather than a...
100%. It's so much cooler.
It would be terrible in the bush.
No, they're okay. People use them on farms in England.
Yeah, but a farm in England is flat. Our bush is anything but flat.
Yeah, but you know what? It's enough to get you over a couple rocks, and that's all you're really going to do. You're not going to do anything massive.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess it's the same thing as a patrol, right? Like a bog standard patrol can do it, so a Vogue can do it.
Exactly.
With all this bells and whistles.
But I'm not backing down on that. It would either be an X5 or a Range Rover.
Far out.
100%.
Far out.
100%. If you're gonna spend 60 grand, right? And I'm all for finding something comfortable and nice and so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, I don't want a van for 60 grand.
Okay.
It doesn't make sense to me. A van should be cheap, shitty.
But I'm not talking like any van. Like I want like a comfortable Mercedes.
What is it at the end of the day? It's a comfortable Mercedes what?
Okay, well, let's say I get an ML, like an ML 350, right?
Yeah, one of the worst cars ever made.
Yeah. So I wouldn't really want one. But the engine-wise, they're great. And reliability-wise, they'd be great.
They're okay.
But creature comforts-wise, I think they're all sorts of... They have their priorities backwards. They shy away from new technology and like to go in their sophisticated
because in
German way.
I think you're right, because in that price point, right, is you're not buying the new modernistic nice ones, right? You're buying the older, slightly shitter ones, right?
Yeah.
And unless you can buy the new-ish Mercedes, because now they're nice, right? Mercedes overall is a brand. What they've done in the last 4 or 5 years, it's amazing, right? You've got GLAs, A45s running around everywhere. You've got...
Oh, no, you can't say last 4 or 5 years. Mercedes have been doing great for a long time. Like even the
100%.
90s Mercedes were up there.
But that 2000s period was pretty shocking.
Yes.
They went through a very, very bad period.
They did have a little down. But like they used to be the best of the best and then they went down real hard and now they're getting back up the ladder. Except, you know what? The X-Class Ute.
That was a monumental failure.
I think that really brought their brand down a lot. Like when I think of Mercedes as a brand, I don't think of a tradie vehicle.
Yeah, I think you're right, and you did bring this up to me once. At least with someone like Audi, right? You've got Volkswagen to fill that void, right?
Yeah.
And they've got your Amarok and your... What's the other van that they do? Transporter. And
and it makes total sense, right? You think of Volkswagen and you go, yep, that's for the everyday person.
Yeah.
It's good for work. It's good for luxury. It's good for everything. You look at an Audi and you don't want to see a van. You don't want to see a ute.
Also, I think the other thing is when you go to shop for a ute, right? Not that we have, but if you do, right?
Yeah.
And you're someone who's... Utes are expensive these days. What, 60,000?
At least.
60, 70,000, right?
Yeah.
When you're buying in that price point, you're obviously going to do some miles in it, or you're a tradesman, or you use it as a family car with a weekender getaway sort of thing.
Yep.
Who thinks to themselves, you know what? I want a tough, rugged vehicle to go off-road that's going to be cheap to maintain and keep it. Who thinks of Mercedes and the word X-Class?
Yeah. No.
It's the last thing that ever comes to my head.
More than the... I think as a car, they weren't that bad because it's basically...
It's a Nissan.
It's a Nissan Navara, right? Which is basically a Renault.
Yeah, pretty much.
So it's like a Renault chassis with a Mercedes engine and a great engine, right?
Well, Nissan engine in those.
Is it?
Yeah, they're still a Navara engine.
I thought they had the Mercedes engine.
No change.
Oh.
Mercedes just dressed it and made it...
Oh, that just made it worse.
That's what I mean, right? But
so it's terrible.
The worst thing is, this is the thing that kills it for me in the X-Class.
I really thought they went with the 6.3 or some shit.
I really, really liked the idea around the X-Class when they first announced it. I thought it was fucking awesome. I was like, luxury SUV, it's going to be nice inside, leather seats and so on and so forth, and it's awesome, right? And it's got the cool, funky screen and all the aircon vents and all the Mercedes bits and bobs. But if you go have a look at certain things within that car, which is just the switch for the heater switch on the heated seats,
Yeah.
Nissan button. You want locking differentials, Nissan button. And you move to the left, less than 20 centimeters, and you've got a full Mercedes turnable gear knob, nice quality, exactly what they'd use in the C-Class. And it just doesn't make any sense.
That sounds terrible.
Right.
I don't even like Nissan Navaras, let alone
Neither do I.
Let alone pay more for it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I was just thinking of it purely from like a marketing perspective.
Yeah.
They've just delved their brand into a market that's so much lower than what they've been aiming for their whole life.
Agreed.
This is like Rolls-Royce coming out with like a tiny hatchback.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, does it?
Why would you do that? That's just killing your brand.
Yeah.
Or it's like Lamborghini coming out with an SUV for everyday driving. Why would you do this?
Which they have.
Why? You're killing your brand.
Yeah.
Although in the Lamborghini, the Urus,
which, to be honest,
once you drive it, it's nothing like any other SUV. It's insane.
And I'm sure it is. The only problem I've got is I feel like the name Urus is you turn up at your doctor and say, "Doctor, can you give me a checkup?" And he goes, "Look, you've got a Urus."
But it's the name of a bull, so I see where they're coming from. They're trying to stick with the tradition. And you know what? If you had a sports car that was $1 million, you would not buy it if it was called a Urus.
True.
But if it was an SUV for your family, you don't care what it's called.
Yeah.
It's a nice SUV.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of power. It's one of the best cars, other than the brakes and the handling aren't the best with it. But in a straight line, that thing's a behemoth.
But see, going back to this, right? The idea around the X-Class was so cool.
Yeah.
Right? It was an awesome idea.
Yep.
And they absolutely ruined it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think using the Nissan part really killed it. So yeah, I wouldn't probably go with that.
Yeah. That's dead. And I think at the end of the day, we're never going to agree on the 60,000 budget.
No, I think that's a really hard budget to work with.
Very hard budget. It's just never going to happen. But in that 20 grand range, I think we've decided that for most of us, for 20 grand, our number one suggestion that you should go and buy for this COVID adventure that's coming, because I think 80% of us are going to go on a COVID adventure.
Yeah, it's a Mitsubishi Delica.
It's a Mitsubishi Delica.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah. And
if you need someone to fix it, Siraj is your man.
That's it.
You love working on those, don't you?
Yeah, I really do. All right. I think that's where we call the episode for today. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you for listening.
And we'll come back at you with the next episode. See you out.